It's movie night at the Silverade Cinema, and tonight's pairing is pure 80s cool. To Live and Die in L.A. chases counterfeit bills through the city, while Manhunter goes inside the mind of killer. But first... On the streets of Los Angeles, a risk-taking Secret Service agent is tracking a brilliant counterfeiter whose near-perfect fake bills are flooding the city and leaving a body count behind.
Let me tell you something, amigo. I'm gonna bag masters and I don't give a shit how I do it.
Working with a younger partner, the case unfolds through stakeouts, informants, and tense surveillance as every attempt to corner the suspect slips away at the last second.
We got a chance to make him on a hand-to-hand buy, which is something he cannot beat in court.
You're not the first agents to get next to Masters.
As the counterfeiter stays ahead of them, the chase turns personal. The agent begins breaking protocol, pushing the investigation into dangerous territories and dragging his partner along with him. In a city built on control and image, the hunt becomes a race to see who's willing to risk everything to come out on top. William Petersen takes a sharp turn with To Live and Die in L.A., making a cold and reckless crime drama. Before this, he had ready to find gritty realism with The French Connection, known for its outstanding car chase. On this film, real ex-cons were brought in to help guide the counterfeiting scenes, pushing the movie's details to an almost illegal level. Our feature actor, William Petersen, stars as Richard Chance, a reckless Secret Service agent who mistakes obsession for purpose. Here's William talking about the film.
I remember when we got to the airport to do this scene in the airport where I chased down John Turturro's character. We had gone there and rehearsed it and thought, oh, this would be great. I'll get up on the escalator and run along there and go past all the people and jump and chase him. And so we got to that point where we were shooting, and the head of the airport, who was with us on the set, said, excuse me, we rehearsed it with the camera, and he said, no, we can't have him jump up on that and run along the top of the escalator. We can't, that's just not gonna happen. We don't wanna start letting people think they can do that in an airport. So Billy came over to me and he said, the guy doesn't want us to do the shot. I said, oh, Billy, we gotta do the shot. That's the whole point of being here. And he said, well, I'm gonna tell Robbie to roll, and I'm going to tell you in front of everybody not to do that. And then, however you feel, you do what you need to do.
Fresh-faced William Dafoe plays Rick Masters, a counterfeiter who treats crime like a personal art form. Theater actor John Pankow is John Volkovich, the rookie forced to go along with his partner's bad decisions. And John Turturro appears as Carl Cody, a volatile criminal who's bad news as soon as he appears.
What the hell?
Your retirement present.
You trying to get rid of me?
If you got anything to say to your partner, now's the time.
Come on, you ain't going out there alone.
I got 3 more days on the job. I want to make the most of it.
What the hell do you think is going to happen to him? Anyway, back to the review. To Live and Die in L.A. has a pure 80s attitude, and it's a slick and dangerous crime movie.
I'm ready to die! Nobody's gonna die. Look, you and I are gonna go downstairs and talk. Death to Israel and America, and no...
The Wang Chung score is pumping vibes into a neon, sun-bleached L.A., where everything feels like it's about to go sideways. Chance is the kind of lead you don't see anymore, arrogant, reckless, and willing to break the law for the end result. His partner Vukovich is by the book and clearly uncomfortable watching things slide from surveillance to outright robbery just to entrap Masters. That tension of how far you're willing to go is what keeps the movie buzzing. Friedkin clearly wanted to top his French connection, and the car chase proves it. Driving straight into oncoming traffic is insane enough, but knowing Petersen actually did some of that, and that Pankel was genuinely terrified, gives the whole sequence a raw edge you could feel. This is a movie powered by momentum and bad judgment, all wrapped in the feeling that the city of angels is about to explode. And when it does, the ending hits hard, fast, and without mercy. William Friedkin had said this is one of his favorite films from a stacked career. The story comes from a book written by a former Secret Service agent whose main duties are protecting the president and hunting counterfeiters. Friedkin had $1 million in fake bills printed for the film. They were realistic enough that it reportedly got the FBI involved when some of it slipped in circulation. That commitment to realism is all over the movie, and it's a big reason it still feels dangerous and alive. My enjoyment rating for this hard-charging crime movie is an A.
We lucked out, Johnny! We lucked out! Woo!
On the quiet edges of suburban America, a former FBI profiler is pulled back into the field to hunt a serial killer targeting families with chilling precision.
This guy's on a lunar site. We only got 3 weeks left and you're our best shot.
Referring to this killer as the Tooth Fairy. This guy, we don't even have motive.
Using his ability to reconstruct crimes, the profiler begins piecing together how the killer thinks. As the murders continue, the investigation turns into a psychological chess match, forcing him to seek insight from Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant imprisoned murderer whose knowledge of the mind may be the only way to stop the next killing.
I've seen blood in the moonlight, but it appears quite black.
With time running out and another family at risk, the hunt becomes a test of control, restraint, and how close a man can get to evil without losing himself. Michael Mann brings a cool, clinical precision to Manhunter, creating a detached and unsettling serial killer story. He had already defined a modern crime style with Miami Vice, where the mood and music defined the 80s. Mann wanted to keep the book's original title, Red Dragon, but was overruled over concerns it might be confused with an earlier flop, The Year of the Dragon. It's a rare moment where Mann lost a creative argument. Our double feature hero, William Petersen, stars as Will Graham, a gifted profiler whose ability to think like a killer comes at a personal cost. Here's William speaking about working with Michael Mann.
And the way Michael wrote it, the way Michael shot it, you know, the amount of time we took to do it. You know, Michael's work with the camera is profoundly good. And it takes a long time to get it that way. And his shots through the bars, I remember waiting for the camera. It was tricky because, you know, you have all the bars, and he wanted things to happen in certain places as the camera would go through the bars, both ways, on both sides. So I do remember it being about a 2-day process just to get that one scene. However, at the end of the day, it lent to the atmosphere, it lent to the creepiness, it lent to the anxiety that I had as a character, just because of the way it was done.
The late, great Dennis Farina stars as Jack Crawford, the hard-driving FBI boss who keeps pushing no matter the damage. Scottish actor Brian Cox appears as the original Hannibal Lecter, an imprisoned serial killer, calm, intelligent, and accountable. And creepy Tom Noonan is Francis Dollarhide, a silent, deeply disturbed killer known as the Tooth Fairy.
What the hell?
During the movie, a couple of characters were able to pet this sedated tiger. It got me thinking, I wonder what the hell happened to this beautiful, regal creature. Well, I guess we'll never know. Anyway, back to my review. Manhunter feels cold, precise, and quietly unsettling in a way that sticks with you. Every frame has a stylized lighting and visuals that make the world feel slightly off, like you're already inside someone else's head. And it gives everything this uneasy, dreamlike edge.
If you can't look anymore, I understand.
Don't try to run a game down on me, Jack.
If I really didn't need you to come back, I wouldn't ask.
What really sets it apart is the psychological toll of the work. You don't just watch an FBI profiler hunt a killer. You feel what that kind of obsession does to a person.
So, how does this guy compare with Lecter, huh? What does he do to him? How's he doing?
Keep the fuck away from me.
The featured cast is excellent, with Joan Allen's vulnerability and Stephen Lang adding to the tension. Even the different take on Lecter works here and perfectly matches the movie's tone. This is a complex, disturbing, and stylish crime thriller that puts you into the mind of a serial killer, and you may never come back. Manhunter was later remade as Red Dragon, returning to Thomas Harris's original novel title, with Anthony Hopkins continuing the role of Lecter. At the time, Manhunter fizzled at the box office, but it's grown into a full-on cult film. Mann chose to use Inagata da Vida during the climax, inspired by reports that a real serial killer fixated on the song as part of his crimes. That kind of unsettling real-world detail helps explain why it still crawls under your skin decades later. My enjoyment rating for this haunting crime movie is an A.
Don't think you can persuade me with appeals to my intellectual vanity.
Thanks for stopping by. Look at what I found.
Buddy, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, wait. Before you do anything crazy, please consider subscribing or clicking on the other crime double we've reviewed. See you next time at the Silver Age Cinema, where one movie is never...